Is Donald Trump bulldozing America's ties with Europe? This is the World Brief with me, Aaron Dahmen, direct from the world's largest security conference in Munich. Your week in 10 minutes starts now.
We should try to organize together what could be called a transatlantic reset, if we can achieve that this weekend.
More and more see in NATO more European-led, but at the same time, the US absolutely anchored in the organization.
Even the United States will not be powerful enough to go it alone. Dear friends, being a part of NATO is not only Europe's competitive advantage, it's also the United States' competitive advantage. So let's repair and revive transatlantic trust together. We, the Europeans, we are doing our part.
Well, welcome to Munich. This is a city that has become synonymous with politics, with frank debate, with power brokers that turn up here in Bavaria every year and tell it like it is. The Munich Security Conference released a report this week, and it talked about wrecking ball politics, about sweeping destruction. This conference and what leaders say in the Hotel Bayerischer Hof, it matters because so often it is offered a glimpse into the future, a sense of perhaps of what is to come. In 2007, Vladimir Putin was in this very hotel. He eviscerated European leaders in the sense that he rallied against any form of NATO enlargement. He rallied against the post-Cold War order. We of course know what followed. The annexation of Crimea, the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. This matters. We were here last year when US Vice President JD Vance was in Munich, blasting European leaders over free speech, over immigration. That was just a month after Donald Trump returned to the White House. The last 365 days have told that story. We know what happens. This matters. Some people I've spoken to here, they sense that this will be different to last year. JD Vance is not coming back. The US delegation is led by US Secretary of State Marco Rubio. But there's also a sense that, look, the bar is low. And it will be interesting to observe what the leaders have to say. Read my lips. And then we will see the action or non-action over the coming weeks and months. Of course, Ukraine will be top of mind. In fact, if you just come with me around here, there's a special Ukraine house for the first time here at the Munich Security Conference. So it is a focus. But on top of that, there is the Middle East. There is also Greenland. Donald Trump's push and push and push for this autonomous territory of Denmark. So what we hear from these leaders, the words, they will matter, and we need to listen closely. Read my lips. In just a moment, we'll head inside. We'll speak to Deputy Director of the Atlantic Council, Philippe Dickinson, and we'll also speak to our very own Marcin Zaborowski, TVP World Europe Editor, who was with me here last year too. So we're back again. But before I arrived in Munich, I spoke to Nico Lange. He's a senior fellow at the Munich Security Conference. He's a former chief of staff at the German Ministry of Defense, and he did not mince his words. This is what he told me.
The truth is, if Europe wants to have peace, Europe will have to beat Putin. I think that is the truth. And I mean, Europe does not want to say this out loud and clear, but I'm saying it here. I think that's the solution to this. The US does not want to seem to pressure Putin. He is a big risk, not only for Ukraine, that's clear, but also for all of Europe. He wants to shape Europe absolutely differently. And I mean, we are the ones having the consequences. In Poland, in Germany, in the Baltic states, in the Baltic Sea region, everywhere we see security risks emerging. And I think one issue that needs to be addressed at the Munich Security Conference is, if the US really wants to do less for European security, how can the Europeans do everything that is necessary to avoid a security gap? Because this will be exploited by the other side. And that's the responsibility, I think, of everyone having discussions here, moving this, pushing the needle on this, and not just, having this kind of half-religious speeches where everybody talks to themselves how great and strong Europe is. The fact is, it isn't at the moment, and we have to make it stronger.
So, Philippe Dickinson, Marcin Zaborowski, good evening, gentlemen. We were here 365 days ago. What's the one word you're hearing this year when it comes to Munich? I'll start with you, Philip.
I'd say disorder. That was the theme that came up in the Danish Prime Minister's speech, and that is the figuring out the new global order is the theme that is running throughout all of these interventions.
What about you, Marcin?
I agree. I mean, that's what we've been
You can't
hearing.
agree, Marcin. That's a cop-out.
Can I give you my second word?
Well, that's also what we heard from Merz. It's world order is broken, and we know it, and we don't know what the new one is going to be. Yeah?
Well, I mean, it's a fair point, and it is a theme that has really come through already here in Munich. The world order as we know it no longer exists. That's what Friedrich Merz told us. Philip, is he saying out loud what many have known for some time?
I think he's saying what people are coming to realize, that we're in a real, genuine moment of historical inflection point, that the post-Cold War order that we have been living through for the last decades, in fact, the post-Second World Order is changing in fundamental and unpredictable ways. It's kind of building on the speech from Mark Carney in Davos last month.
So fundamental shift. This is not just a Trump-era thing.
I think so. I think the Greenland episode for Europeans has been so scarring that considering how, there could be a democratic president in the future, things could be more normal, but the realization of the vulnerabilities that Europe faces is what's permanent.
Marcin, Chancellor Merz also spoke directly to America. He said, you guys can't go at this alone. Is he right, or is he overplaying Europe's hand, given what we know about military capabilities, about NATO, about nuclear deterrence?
Well, he was so direct that he switched the language. Yeah?
He spoke to them in the room.
Because the whole speech was in German, and then with a couple of sentences he addressed the audience in English, and he exactly said what you just said now. He said, you can't do it alone, you need coalitions. Even if it's a world of great powers, it's best if these great powers have lots of friends around them. And of course he's right with that. I mean, this is how coalition and alliances work.
But do you think he's right when it comes to United States not being able to do it alone? I mean, can the United States do it alone, but Europe needs the United States?
I think we really need each other, yeah? I mean, I think that at this point in time, the US president thinks that the Europeans need him so much more than the other way around, but in reality, when he looks into economics, for example, it's not the case at all.
What do you think, Philip?
I think your question is, can the United States do it alone? I guess it depends what we're defining as it. There's a lot that the United States can do alone. It has the military and economic strength to act unilaterally and act aggressively.
What is it that it can't?
Well, if you want to move fast, move alone. If you want to move far, go together. And I think that one of the great strengths that the United States has over the last several decades is this lattice work of alliances and partnerships around the world that helps extend its influence in different regions in ways in which it would be so much harder to do without those relationships and partnerships and alliances.
Marco Rubio up on Saturday morning. He's already talked about living in this new era of geopolitics. We've discussed it extensively just now. Can the transatlantic relationship be repaired, I guess, or is it losing all meaning?
I think it can be repaired to a point. Yeah? But I mean, we know that we no longer are going to have this word of multilateralism and predictability and rules-based order. So yes, we can be working closer with the United States on a sort of interest-related basis, meaning on a more transactional kind of a basis. And I think this is what both the Europeans and Americans are agreeing to do. And what was also very interesting, the prince from Saudi Arabia, the head of the Saudi Arabia Foreign Office, said, you know, of course it's a broken world order, and we have known it for a very long time. What is refreshing is that you seem to be knowing it now.
So, Philip, I want to end with that then. We all know it. The world order is broken. Disorder is both of your words to describe Munich so far. Where do we go from here?
Well, that's a great question. It will take some time to become clearer. I think over the course of 2026, the Europeans in particular will need to step up and transform these strong speeches and words and very clear messages into action. Europe needs to be united and take bold, positive action across a range of different portfolios, not just defense, but economically, etc., to really stand up and reach its full potential as a potential superpower. And I think a strong, united Europe that does work with the United States, perhaps on a more transactional basis, but an alliance that is maintained, is a stronger and more sustainable, durable order.
So much to unpack and so much to watch. Philippe Dickinson, Marcin Zaborowski, thank you to you both.
Thank you.
And that is the World Brief here on TVP World. You can follow us wherever you get your news, including on YouTube. I'm Dahmen. I'll see you next week.